The Dangerous Shore is a nonfiction, but it's written. I hated history in school. And so I wanted to, make history interesting. And what really made it interesting was the people. And so to take these true, incredible stories and to write them in a way that people will actually, some of them are stranger than fiction. So the story is really about the everyday Americans who defended our shore when U-boats came and attacked, and I-boats, the Japanese submarines too, during World War II. So you have the mafia, you have naval intelligence, you have retired World War I pilots. One is a double amputee and they're flying planes. They're doing patrols on the coasts. You have spies, you have double agent spies, and all these individuals, these stories intertwine and come together to April of 1945 at the end of the war. So you really get to see the everyday person on the home front for a change, fighting the good fight and doing what they can to keep the war away from our shore.
That is absolutely fascinating. And I will say that I'm a history major. I went to Boston College and I majored in history. And I really liked the post-World War I history. And I did study um, a lot about World War II. But I will say that I never really even touched upon how close America was to being attacked. Unbelievable.
Yeah, prior to this, I did the book Indianapolis, as you mentioned, and so my focus had always been the Pacific War. And so when I started researching this and seeing, we had 660 ships, I think, sunk in our coastal waters. So literally people are laying on the beach, they're sun tanning or doing whatever. There's one of them, there's a fireman's ball one place, and they're watching ships get blown up by German U-boats right in front of them, so close that the heat can be felt from the explosions. So this is happening all the way from Maine down, into the Gulf and even on the West Coast. And I had no idea. I didn't know. I kind of knew about the threat of the U-boats, but not to that extent. And so it was wild for me to just go on this ride of learning how close we really were, like you said.
Right. Absolutely. Just absolutely amazing. And, further into the title, after the title, The Dangerous Shore, how a motley crew of scientists, mobsters, double agents, retirees, volunteer pilots, and a Boy Scout stopped the invasion of America. And after reading through the book, I was absolutely amazed at how the mafia, how the Meyer Lanskys of the world, how the Lucky Lucianos were so helpful to the cause.
Really? And they were very patriotic. In fact, there was a couple instances in their testimonies that I used to write the book that they talk about they were more offended by someone saying that they weren't patriots than they were by being called murderers. And so
Wow.
to me, that was this weird dynamic of how do you, recognize this person in this instance as a good guy who is also a very bad guy, and, trying to balance that and show really how important they were. They were key to keeping New York safe, and that was our major port of entry for supplies and our men being sent out and everything going out to Europe. They went through New York. So it was the mob that kept the port and the waters there safe, and they worked directly with naval intelligence to do that. And so that was another one. I was like, oh my gosh, how do we not know this story? It's crazy.
Right. Absolutely.